here's your conservative, but not bitter host, Todd Huff.
Well, that is right. You are listening to hour number 2 of the Todd Huff Show. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for joining us. Email todd@toddhuffshow.com, facebook.com/Todd Huff Show. If you want to watch hour number 1, we're on YouTube, hour number 2. Old habits are hard to break. We're on YouTube, Todd Huff Show on YouTube, and pleasure to be here. Hour 1, we talked about what was happening. One of the things that's happening in our society, in the bureaucratic state, in the craziness of the modern ideas. Again, they're not ideas, they're not thoughts, they're just emotions and reactions, but of modern liberalism. And we talked about what the city of Seattle was doing to help its employees come to grips with their whiteness. Segregated meetings. I mean, it's remarkable that we're at this point. But this is what it takes. This is what it takes to further the cause. We have to cause divisions, not we, but this is what they do. They divide and they conquer. They pit groups of people against one another. They get people, they know on its face that the ideas, and if you want to hear specifically about that, you have to listen to hour number 1, but I don't want to rehash this in hour number 2, but you can't get people to believe your ideas. So you got to start talking in terms that make them confused. And so they come up with things like implicit bias. They tell you things like you're not at fault for racism, but you're responsible for it. And then they have these diagrams and charts that show how there's a cycle of white people creating problems in America because deep down we want to stay in control and we refuse to allow voices of minority groups to have a say. And the only way we can ultimately do that is to, stoke the fires of institutional racism and systemic racism. And, the only way we can ultimately atone for this is to vote for Biden, who's going to fix this somehow, even though he's been in D.C. for nearly half a century. He's just now realizing that America is fundamentally flawed because it's an election cycle, and this is the nonsense that the radical left is now embracing, and blah, 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 on we go into this craziness. So they try to trick you into thinking this, and they tell you if you get mad about being called a racist, that's really because of the shame and guilt that you have for... I just tell you, it is remarkable to me to see the efforts that they try to go to convince people to embrace their broken ideology. They don't want they want to silence the opposition. They want to silence anybody who wants to say anything that might raise questions or poke holes in their worldview. And it works with a lot of folks. And we went through that last hour, and I don't want to rehash that here, but what I want to do in hour number 2 is shift gears to something else that I have thoroughly enjoyed. From time to time, I will watch. I'll flip on CNN, and tough guy Chris Cuomo comes to the end of his program. I think he's on at 8 o'clock Eastern. Actually, he may be 9. It's either 8 or 9, and then he hands it off to, as he calls him, Don Lemon, who's, of course, been accused of being a conservative. You may not have known that. Don Lemon has been accused of being conservative. That's what he wants you to believe anyway. He wants me to believe. And so they have this conversation. And Fox does this too. Not to this degree or length. Chris Cuomo and Don Lemon here, tough guy Chris Cuomo and D. Lemon, they go back and forth for, it's like eight minutes or so. And they're deadly serious. I mean, I'm looking at a still shot here of their faces. They are deadly serious about this discussion. And so it goes into a lot of directions, but it deals primarily with racism in America, with Mount Rushmore, with D. Lemon even suggesting that we, half jokingly, but I think half not jokingly, that Obama needs to be up on Mount Rushmore, he says. Maybe that'll help atone for the systemic racism in America. It's the step in the right direction. Well, we can talk about that when we get there, but what are the qualifications here to get on, Mount Rushmore? We really going to say that, the reasons that people supported Obama are worthy of getting him on Mount Rushmore? Is this a serious discussion? I think in their minds it is. But anyway, but before we get to that, I need to really quickly share about something that they reference here. Something that D. Lemon and tough guy Chris Cuomo reference in this discussion, and that is something that has happened. And I had to look and see the city where this happened in, but there was, I'm trying to find it here really quickly, but there was someone who applied for a permit to paint Black Lives Matter in the city streets. And they were given a permit, and they did this. I think they did it on July 4th. The permit was requested July 1st. The city gave them the permit to do this, to paint Black Lives Matter in the street. It's huge. I think it covers, both lanes of traffic, both lanes. And they paint this on the street, and two somebodies, say, we're not going to stand for this. So they grabbed some black paint and painted over this. They've been charged with misdemeanors, and are you ready for this? They've been charged with a hate crime. I'm trying to find this. I must have deleted the story here. But here it is. Police charge duo, this is from the Daily Wire, police charge duo with hate crime for painting over Black Lives Matter mural on public street. Law enforcement officials in, yes, of course, California charged a man and a woman with a hate crime on Tuesday for allegedly painting over a Black Lives Matter mural that was painted on a public street. The Contra Costa County District Attorney's Office announced that Nicole Anderson, 42, and David Nelson, 53, were being charged with 3 misdemeanor counts, including a hate crime for the incident, which allegedly happened on Saturday. On July 1st, a local Martinez resident applied for a permit to paint Black Lives Matter temporarily, a Black Lives Matter temporary mural in downtown Martinez in front of the Wakefield Taylor Courthouse. The Contra Costa County District Attorney's Office said in a statement the permit was approved by the city of Martinez and the painting was done on July 4th. Anderson covered up a Black Lives Matter mural with black paint. The statement added Nelson directly aided in the alleged criminal conduct. The incident was captured on video by witnesses. So basically, and there's things on Twitter, you can see them painting over the mural on the street. Now, what's interesting, I'll pause. Look, they applied for the permit. The city granted it. And they said you can paint Black Lives Matter on our streets. It's a temporary sort of thing, I guess. Supposedly. They might have, who knows, if this is... It says it's temporary, but who knows? They probably could get another permit to continue doing this in today's political climate. But nonetheless, the city approved it. Now, should the city have approved it? Could you think about other things that you could paint on the streets and why this is acceptable and others are not, and all that sort of stuff, right? It's funny again how politics only matters. You can only not be political in our city government or partisan when it's Republican issues. But nonetheless, this was allowed to happen. They were given a permit. And a couple of someones grabbed paint and said, we're going to paint over this effectively. Now that is, of course, you just can't do that. So I'm not suggesting there shouldn't be any repercussions, but to charge them with a hate crime for this seems to be a little bit much. It's not just enough. So think about this. If you oppose the Black Lives Matter movement, not the statement. See, this is where they want the confusion to come in. They don't want people to understand that Black Lives Matter is run by at least two self-identified trained Marxists. Folks, they're communists. You read the Black Lives Matter mission statement, you see that they are against the traditional nuclear family. That's in there as well. You've seen instances where Black Lives Matter have called for violence, allegedly, in some instances against law enforcement. And you wonder why people are bothered by the movement. And so if you stand against the movement, you're charged with a hate crime. So now they've implemented laws that effectively can now be applied if you don't agree with their ideology. This seems like an obvious problem to me, right? And if you don't capitulate and and you don't follow their desires for you to shut up if you're white, or if you're just simply not black, you just shut up and allow the Black Lives Matter leaders and movement to tell you what you're going to do. I sat through something like this recently. Again, I don't want to get into details on this because this happened in a private environment, but basically, we had a group of folks that were, at least a couple of folks that were supporters of the Black Lives Matter movement. And in an effort to simply try to understand some of the tensions, we had our church hosted an event where people could share, perspectives. That was the idea. Let's just talk about this. The church needs to be involved in bringing racial tensions down, because we're all, brothers and sisters in Christ. For those of us who are Christian, we're called to love all people. We don't care about those things that make us different. We think about those things that unite us. But we understand that there are differences, and that's good. There's variation on planet Earth, all types of it, not just skin color, all types of it. And so, to have this forum where we could understand the issues and try to see it from a different perspective, because a lot of folks are thinking, I don't understand certain implications here, so let's have a discussion. Well, this turned into, at least from a couple of them, a list of grievances against white people in general, specifically white people in that auditorium who came freely to try to understand, to seek to bridge this gap. And instead, we were lectured to about really all the things that we had done wrong and things that we were told to repent of, when the person speaking had literally no idea if we were guilty of one of the things, except for, and there were two of them, he and she. They saw us as white, so therefore, we were guilty of whatever they decided we were guilty of as it pertained to racism. So there's this, it's all over the place. It's permeated our culture and society, and if you oppose it, if you oppose the movement, again, no one's arguing the idea that Black Lives Matter. People will respond and say, yes, Black Lives Matter, but all lives matter, and they don't like to hear that. But that's true. In fact, even one of the individuals in the group that I was, listening to, a panel, said that the statement "all lives matter" is racist. And then in the same paragraph, at the end of that paragraph, said, of course, all lives matter. All lives matter is a true statement. I just want to know, if something is true and all lives matter, how can it also be evil at the same time? Well, it's because of the message you're trying to communicate. No, I reject that idea. She told us that we didn't say all lives matter until someone said Black Lives Matter, which is, again, false, because for those that have been in the pro-life movement, they've heard them for years say that all human life matters. It's sacred. So, but you get into these situations, and there's tensions. People are tired of being maligned by those with microphones or megaphones, or those that are screaming in the streets, making blanket accusations against white people or whatever. And folks have simply had enough of this. And so they see this couple sees this painted in their city streets in California, and they didn't have permission to cover it up. Now, in my mind, this shouldn't have been there to begin with, but the city allowed it. That's just the way that it is when you live in the People's Republic of California. And these two covered it up, and they're guilty of something, but a hate crime. A hate crime seems to be a bit of an exaggeration. So this comes up, and I want to play. I got to take a break, but we're going to play a little bit of this conversation between Don Lemon and tough guy Chris Cuomo, because I just think that this is just a snapshot into craziness as I'm listening to the back and forth discussion here, and I think it's good to hear, even though it's crazy at points. I mean, really crazy. This back and forth sort of conversation, but it's what we have to understand what the left thinks in order to communicate and try to persuade. And look, not all these folks, not all the folks that embrace this radical movement or liberalism in general are going to be open to conservative ideas, principles, concepts, and so forth. But some will be. Some will be. So I want to play this and share this after the break. And this story that I just shared, it kind of serves as a backdrop for one of the things that they talk about. I just wanted to make sure you were aware of it. So we'll talk about that when we get back. Sit tight. Be back in just a minute.
Looking to make a conservative, not bitter fashion statement? Check out our apparel online, including brand new items at toddhuffshow.com/shop today.
What if your bank treated you like a person instead of an account number? What if you could sit across from the person you are opening an account with or requesting a loan from and have an actual conversation? You may be thinking, Todd, that's crazy talk. Well, not at Citizens Bank. Come visit them in Monrovia and meet Nick Gibson, their new branch manager, and the rest of their staff. Or give them a call at 317-831-0110. Citizens Bank is an equal housing lender and member FDIC.
Hi, my name is John Swadner, Sales Director of the Todd Huff Show. As a listener of the program, you know the show is growing. 4 years ago, it began as a podcast in a closet. Today, it's a 2-hour show that airs during morning drive in Indy and in Utah, and we're just scratching the surface. Todd brought me on board to help the show and our advertisers grow. That's why I'm specifically looking for partners who are a good fit to advertise with us. Would that be you? To learn more about what advertising would look like and to determine if it's a good fit for your business, shoot me an email to john@toddhuffshow.com. And be sure to ask me about some of our special packages that will save you up to 40%. Email john@toddhuffshow.com. Shoot me an email today.
You rely on your vehicle every day. It's not a member of the family, but you spend as much time with it as most family members. You wouldn't take your family to just any doctor, so don't trust your vehicle to just any repair service. At Raymond's Auto and Truck Repair in Plainfield, we have well-trained, caring technicians that have the expertise to get you back on the road. For 25 years, we've been servicing personal, commercial, and fleet vehicles. Give us a call at 317-838-7112 for the car service you deserve.
Trace Adkins with special guests Big Country and Jake Dodds, presented by Ray Skillman Hoosier Ford. Friday, July 31st at the Morgan County Fairgrounds in Martinsville, Indiana. Get your tickets now at toddhuffshow.com/trace. Seating is open, so bring your own lawn chairs and blankets. And with social distancing guidelines in place, there's still plenty of room to feel safe and comfortable. Trace Adkins with special guests Big Country and Jake Dodds, presented by Ray Skillman Hoosier Ford. July 31st at the Morgan County Fairgrounds. Get your tickets now at toddhuffshow.com/trace.
Ever ask yourself, what does my business insurance actually cover? Well, at AIA and Avon, we think you deserve to know. AIA is focused on earning your trust. We've found that when we educate our clients and truly listen to them, they allow us to work alongside them to put together the insurance plan they need. Whether your business is big or small, give AIA a call, 317-718-1747, or find out what we can do for you at AIA4lowrates.com. Advertisement sponsored by Grange Insurance.
Are you concerned about your investments? Intrepid Financial has been educating, customizing, and servicing Hoosier investment portfolios since 1998. Our family-owned and operated business builds strong bonds with our clients. When you call, we answer the phone, always ready to walk you through your investment strategy. Intrepid means without fear. We want our clients to be fearless, to feel secure with their investments. Give us a call at 317-818-1776 or visit us online at intrepidfinancial.com.
Ever wondered what shooting a real machine gun feels like? At Indy Trading Post, you can have an awesome and safe shooting experience in our family-friendly environment. Firing a weapon on full auto is something you will always remember. Schedule some range time today and let Indy Trading Post give you the real machine gun shooting experience. We guarantee you'll have a blast. Give us a call at 317-782-4867 or schedule your range time at fullautoindy.com.
Welcome back. For those of our listeners in central Indiana, you may have heard a couple of ads here today. There's a concert. Yes, that's right, a concert, folks. In the post-COVID world, I don't want to call it post yet as though I'm saying it's completely over, but the post, as we work to piece this back together, there's concerts. It's hard to find concerts. In fact, it's hard to find any events where there's people gathered. And I know some people have strong feelings about this. It's not the point of me mentioning this. I know that we're speaking, for example, tomorrow at the Freetown Freedom Festival in Freetown, Indiana. Tomorrow night as events kick off, we've been invited to head down and be a part of the opening ceremonies and kind of kick off with a keynote address down there. So that's what we're doing tomorrow. But it's hard to find events like that. It's hard to find concerts too. But there is a concert that's going to be taking place here in central Indiana, July 31st, 7 p.m. Trace Adkins going to be in the area. And you can find out more information about this concert, how you can get tickets by visiting our website. There's a link to order tickets on our website, toddhuffshow.com/trace. Trace Adkins, toddhuffshow.com, just /trace, just his first name. You can find out more information about how you can get tickets, I should say, for this event on July 31st. It's a big venue. It's an open venue. It's on several acres of property, so you'll be able to maintain social distancing. I say it's a big venue, it's a big area, but there won't be a ton of people, if that makes sense. So check it out, toddhuffshow.com/trace. Trace Adkins here in concert, July 31st, 7 p.m., just a little bit south of Indianapolis. So check that out. All right, so I want to get into this conversation that was had between the programs, between Tough Guy Chris Cuomo's program and D. Lemon's program. They hand it off to one another. They go through some back and forth, talking about the issues of the day. It's primarily, again, about racism. It's about Mount Rushmore. It's about this issue that I talked about last segment where these two individuals were painting over the Black Lives Matter mural in Martinez, California. So I just want you to hear this because I think it's important to understand what other folks are, what the left is saying, right? And they believe this stuff. I just think it's important to get to. So here is this conversation.
My man D. Lemon, we're both observing what's happening in this country, exposing what's wrong, trying to shine light on what's right. In California, this is just wrong. Contra Costa County District Attorney's Office has charged 2 residents with 3 misdemeanor counts, including a hate crime.
That's right, a hate
crime.
Here's
why. They got a permit to paint Black Lives Matter there. They got a permit. They did it legally.
Yep.
These people came in and painted over it illegally. Mm-hmm. And why? Because they said, there is no such thing as racism. It ended with the Emancipation Proclamation.
Yeah, and they said not in our town. This will not happen in my town, they said. And, I played this last night, and the thing that got me, Chris, was they were painting over Black Lives Matter letters in black, which you would still be able to see because they were painting over the black letters. So they were actually, in a weird way, helping with the art there. Black Lives Matter, black paint. But listen.
Okay, so a couple things. Number one, they are, now I don't know what this looked like. They're showing B-roll footage as they're talking here, right? So it shows footage of these individuals painting over the words Black Lives Matter. They're using black paint. The original paint was yellow, at least what I'm looking at. I don't know if it was all yellow, but at least the word black was in yellow on an asphalt street, so it's already, I don't want to say it's not black, but it's darker. It's asphalt. So, and they're painting over the letters. They're not painting over the spaces. So, to Don Lemon's point, again, depending upon how much they just stuck with painting over the yellow paint, they are still keeping the letters legible, I guess. But I wonder, the amount of anger that I heard Chris Cuomo express towards these folks and how reprehensible this is. And look, I mean, they violated, the ordinance. I'm not suggesting that they should be given a free pass. I do wonder why the permission was given to begin with. But again, we're in the People's Republic of California, and this would probably happen in lots of places. Good luck trying to get a pro-life message or something like that out, painted on the streets of any town for that matter, city. But where was the rage and the anger? It's just remarkable to me. Why is this more offensive than what we witnessed with the riots led by some of these folks who embraced the idea of Black Lives Matter? Why in the world is this even remotely close? I mean, we had places burned to the ground. We had, what I think I saw at last count, 21 deaths in the George Floyd protests. How on earth is this the biggest problem? How on earth are we considering this to be a hate crime? That is insane. And so I want to pause there and tell you too, when people have issues with some of the legislation, when they talk about the dangers of passing some of these things like hate crime legislation, this is exactly why. Because the people that are painting over the words Black Lives Matter they're simply disagreeing with the message. Not even necessarily that phrase. Don Lemon tells us that these folks said that they believe racism hasn't existed since the Emancipation Proclamation. Well, it depends what you're referring to here. At some point in our history, America did address the issue of systemic racism, institutionalized racism. That happened. I mean, you could make the case. Part of that happened, through, just at different points in our history, specifically with the Civil War, the Emancipation Proclamation. Then you get into the Civil Rights Act of 1964. And the idea that if you don't agree that our institutions are still racist and you paint over a message that's been, painted by someone who agrees, who believes that our system's racist, that you are guilty of a hate crime, right? And again, the intention here is to convolute this issue and confuse folks, because this is not, just simply painting over the words Black Lives Matter doesn't mean that you don't think that Black Lives Matter. This movement stands for something else, folks. Something much more dire and drastic, something much more radical. Again, they want to seek to silence opposition. They want Black Lives Matter to be able to be, painted on the streets, but they don't want any opposition to that. And they're more offended at someone painting over it, which I'm not condoning. Don't misunderstand me. They actually bring more attention to it by doing this. But meanwhile, we've seen shootings and deaths and destruction of property. I told you I went to downtown Indianapolis a couple of weeks ago now, I think. Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago today. And I mean, it's a drastically different scene than it was even a couple of months ago, or, well, got to think about COVID in that scenario too. But the windows that are busted out, the boarding up of pretty much anything on the first floor of downtown, there's a good chance there's boards over those windows. It doesn't even look like some of these businesses are opened. One of the businesses I went into, I had no idea was even remotely possible to being open, and it was. It didn't look like it. It looked like it was under construction, or it looked like it was preparing for a Category 5 hurricane to come through. And in many ways, that's what happened metaphorically. Because of the hatred, because of the anger. But Don Lemon and Chris Cuomo don't seem too bothered by that. They seem much more bothered by these folks. To me, it's obvious which of these things is worse. It's pretty straightforward. But I got to take a break. Come back and continue this conversation about some of the nonsense that's being bantered about between tough guy Chris Cuomo and D. Lemon, as tough guy Chris Cuomo refers to him. We'll talk about this more after the break. Sit tight. Be back in just a minute.
Like what you hear on Todd's show? Why not get more by signing up for Todd's free Semi-Sweet Morsels of Truth newsletter? To subscribe, visit toddhuffshow.com/subscribe or text HUFF to 31996.
Our word can't be diluted because we are taught that a promise is a commitment in which you always follow through. No ifs, ands, or buts. So every time you walk through Greg Hubler Chevrolet doors, you can count on the advice and expertise we provide you. Because when we make a promise, we keep it. Greg Hubler Chevrolet. Promise kept. Visit GregHublerChevy.com. Find new roads.
Anxiety, depression, relationship problems, past trauma. Problems rarely get better when given time. Care to Change Counseling can help. Our professionals combined evidence-based care models with scripture to get you on the path to a productive life. We are here to help you make the changes you need for a healthier, happier you. Take that brave step today. Call Care to Change at 317-790-9396 or visit caretochange.org.
Business leaders, are your employees satisfied with their jobs? Do they enjoy coming to work and feel valued? Workforce Chaplains can help. Locally owned, we work with organizations to provide holistic care to their employees. I'm Marcus Schrader, president of Workforce Chaplains, and we offer your team a 24/7 support system that positively affects your company's culture and productivity. With our personalized pricing and diverse support system, we handle the issues that you wish you had time for. To learn more, visit us at workforcechaplains.com.
Geothermal tax credits are back, making this the perfect time to install a new Climate Master geothermal system. Take advantage of this limited time 26% tax credit and begin cutting your heating and cooling bills immediately. Visit indianageothermal.com/info to get your free Climate Master information kit or call 317-829-1490. Visit indianageothermal.com/info or call 317-829-1490. Geothermal, it's cheaper than you think.
Healthcare is expensive and complicated. Did you know that as a Christian business owner, it is possible to provide access to affordable health benefits for your employees? Remodel Health has helped employers across the United States save over $22 million in the past 3 years. Our innovative approach allows your employees to have the health benefits they need at a cost you can afford. Go to remodelhealth.com/Todd to help your employees find the healthcare they deserve. Remodel Health. Rethink employee health benefits.
Seems like just yesterday that you couldn't find a quiet place to think in your home. Now all the kids have flown the nest and you find yourself wondering what to do with all of that extra space. This is Bruce of Bruce Richardson Realty. My team and I understand that life changes, and so do your home needs. So whether you're downsizing or upsizing, give us a call at 317-507-3285. Let us help you find the best fit for your residential or your commercial property needs. 317-507-3285.
This is the sound of your typical do-it-yourselfer in completely over his head.
For heating, plumbing,
and electrical done right.
Call Mr. Quick. Call Mr. Quick. Dial the number, spell the words. For on time.
Wallace Construction is a family-owned business with 45 years experience in asphalt, concrete, and seal coating. At Wallace Construction, our wide variety of experience and top-notch customer service have helped us build a strong reputation in central Indiana. But we don't rest on that reputation. We build it, one job at a time. If you have an upcoming project, call us at 317-422-5356. That's Wallace Construction, 317-422-5356, and ask for Richard or Roger.
Welcome back. Playing these sound bites from this conversation between Chris Cuomo, tough guy, Chris Cuomo, and D. Lemon have reminded me of something that I'm going to share with you tomorrow. I shared a little bit the story yesterday about our liberal friend Doug. Doug has two conservative friends, and Doug made a bet with his conservative friends, something he thought he was certain of, that he would be correct in, and that was his prediction. I'm going to talk to him about it, but basically his prediction that Trump would not be the Republican nominee for president. And so he lost this bet. And I'll say this about Doug. I've gotten to know Doug a tiny bit here. We've talked a couple of times. We're going to chat later today, and then we'll share our conversation tomorrow. But he, as part of this wager, he's going to have his head shaved, and he's going to have a professional face painter paint on his head things like "Make America Great Again," Trump 2020, all different stuff like that. But I remember in my conversation with him, I said, Doug, I got to applaud you. I said, first of all, you got off easy because we're conservative, not bitter. We'll have some good old-fashioned clean fun with this, but we're not going to seek to humiliate you and anything like that. They came to me with this, by the way. I didn't have anything to do with this. So anyway, I asked him, I said, why did you think what you did? And, what news sources were you consuming? And he said CNN and MSNBC. And I said, well, there's your problem, Doug. And he seems to acknowledge this now. So that, as I'm playing these sound bites of this conversation between tough guy Chris Cuomo and D. Lemon, it's reminded me of this. So let's continue this. I got to take a break here shortly, but I want to continue. I want to play as much of this as I can because this ventures into craziness. I mean, again, they're more offended by people painting over Black Lives Matter in the streets than they are with people burning down businesses. There's been 21 people killed, shot in the protest after George Floyd's death. But they're talking about someone painting over the street, the Black Lives Matter in the street, and how that is a hate crime on top of that. Here, they continue this nonsense here.
There are cameras now. People can't get away with these things. They had to know that they would get caught, or maybe they didn't think. The guy's wearing a "Make America Great Again" hat. He's screaming those sorts of things about, I think he's like, "Make America Great Again" or something.
Oh, my goodness.
Of that nature. And this is where we are in this country right now. People think that they can get away and do this stuff.
Incredible.
And that it is similar to the conversation that you were having.
Incredible.
With Angela, I guess it's related.
Yeah, Don.
Our country. Not your country. This is my country, my town, my
Wait a minute,
city.
Don. If someone says our country, he keeps correcting himself here. He's wanting to say, these white people are saying it's my country. They're chanting "Make America Great Again," which, of course, to the radical left is inherently racist as well. How do we allow these sorts of things to happen? Don, when someone says our country, I mean, that's not the same as saying my country anyway, because see, our is plural. Our includes me, but other people too. Now, you could say maybe they mean that to say not to include black people. If they do, I obviously reject that. That's silliness. If they do, that's a fringe group. But just because they're painting over this message doesn't mean that that's what they mean. Don Lemon wants you to think that. Don Lemon doesn't want you to think that our includes anything besides just white people. I don't know what people think about people that live in small town America. But it's not that these big city liberals have, I think, no idea of who they're talking about, who they have in their mind, who they've been told that the average small town American is, and who that person actually is, are not anywhere near the same thing. Doesn't mean that, of course, these people can be. I'm not suggesting they are. I'm not going to do that to these folks. I don't know who they are. They clearly know they're being filmed. Don Lemon acts like they are trying to do this in secret. They're doing it in the broad daylight, literally in the middle of the streets, while someone's standing, within 30 feet of them, holding a camera towards them. What do you think? Of course they know they're getting filmed, Don. They don't think they're doing anything wrong. They think they're standing against the message. guess they know that they've not complied with the city rules on this, but maybe they don't think that the people who painted this complied. I don't know. They shouldn't have done it. But again, to compare this, to be outraged by this to the same, actually to a greater degree than you're outraged from people who literally have shot people and burned buildings and businesses to the ground, destroyed what people have worked their entire lives for. By the way, even some of these folks being minority-owned businesses, I'm sorry, I'm not sorry. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But then again, little of what they tell us does anyway. More on this when I get back, but I got to take a break. You're listening here to the home of conservative, not better talk. I'm your host, Todd Huff, back in just a minute.
Listen to Todd's show on your way to work, but want to hear more? Don't miss a beat. Visit toddhuffshow.com/listen to catch the program anytime, anywhere.
I love my community, and I wanted to do more to make a difference with my hard-earned dollars. I wanted to make an impact and help shape our future and our county. So I gave money to the Community Foundation of Morgan County. More than just charitable giving, the money I donate is tracked and measured so every dollar is held accountable. It's a social return on your investment. Why don't you join me in donating at cfmconline.org? That's cfmconline.org. Philanthropy with measurable impact.
All right, here we go. $100 down, $100 down, $200 back at $300.
I went to my first firearms auction a few years ago. It was hosted by TJ Freege, one of my good friends from high school, who is a champion auctioneer and one of the best in the business. In spite of objections from liberal legislators, I walked away with a .22 rifle and a few boxes of ammunition. And I had a great afternoon with my grandpa that I won't soon forget. If you've ever wondered what treasure you could find in an auction, visit FreegeAuctioneers.com and take a look at their upcoming Central Indiana auction schedule. That's Freege, F-R-E-I-J-E, auctioneers.com. Visit FreegeAuctioneers.com.
Hi, I'm TJ Freege, owner and lead auctioneer at Freege & Freege Auctions and Marketing. I invite you to come see the power of live auctions. It's fast, it's fun, it's transparent, and it's the absolute best way to ensure you get fair market value for your asset today. Get results, go auction.
Our partner, Global Plasma Solutions, has published ionization testing results that demonstrate a 99.4% reduction rate on a SARS-CoV-2 COVID-19 surface strain within 30 minutes. This is the first instance that an air purification company has effectively neutralized SARS-CoV-2. Commercial Service Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing is installing this solution in businesses and homes in South Central Indiana. Get your free information kit at commercialservice.com/info. Commercial Service, commercial-grade service for your home.
We all know having health insurance doesn't always equal health care. That's why at Freedom HealthWorks, we believe the key to maintaining good health is based on a straightforward, personal relationship with your physician. With our direct doctor-patient relationship model, we remove your healthcare middleman and replace him with transparent pricing and incentive to call your doctor at the first sign of illness. So if you're ready to experience real care from a doctor that really cares about you, go to freedomhealthworks.com and learn more about the benefits of our direct primary care model. Freedom HealthWorks. Be treated better.
Hey Indianapolis, by now you've probably heard about Jody Dowdle with Midwest Tax Group. Jody and his team are experts at helping you prepare your personal or small business tax returns. You can count on Midwest Tax Group to get every deduction possible and work for your higher refund. And not just on this year's taxes, they'll check your prior returns for any tax savings you may have missed for free. Are you behind on filing your returns? They can file past due returns and help negotiate with the IRS too. They complete most tax returns within a week and charge an affordable flat fee, no hourly billing. And as their client, you can consult with the team at Midwest Tax Group year-round at no charge. Midwest Tax Group has 4 office locations in Castleton, Greenwood, Plainfield, and Greenfield, with evening and weekend appointments available. Schedule your appointment today at 317-288-5260. That's 317-288-5260. Or visit their website at mwtaxgroup.com. Midwest Tax Group can help you more than any piece of software ever could.
Welcome back. I'm going to play a little bit more of this. I won't have time to get to the part where Don Lemon suggests, and he's half joking, but I say half because I think he would be completely down with this. he'd be okay with this. Having former President Barack Obama on Mount Rushmore, he refers to this about 7 minutes into this back and forth discussion he has with tough guy Chris Cuomo. But let's continue. Again, they're more upset about the street being painted than they are with buildings being burned to the ground. And again, may I remind them that people have been shot in the wake of the tragic death of George Floyd and in the George Floyd protests, Black Lives Matter protests. Look, it just doesn't, the levels of rage and the amount of problems they have with the street being painted over seems to be way out of proportion for what else we've seen happening with all that's transpired over the past month or so. But here they go, they continue.
And there are certain people who don't belong, or at least what you think that is right. You want to fight for criminal justice. You want Black Lives Matter. You want to be able to have a sign that you put on the street. You can't do that because it's my town.
And look, genius doesn't always have morality attached to it. Often it doesn't. And it all
he's
fits
qualified
together.
to talk about genius here.
The lies about the pandemic, the lies about, what this president will make happen, the lies of those around him as an echo of support, the lies about what Black Lives Matter is about.
Pause.
It's
What do you?
all about
Whoa,
creating
Chris.
division.
Yeah.
No, what do you mean? This is utter insanity. Black Lives Matter, that movement is about creating division. That's why it's so subtle. It's nuanced. So the movement stands for much more than this idea that Black Lives Matter. I know of 0 people that believe Black lives don't matter. I don't know any of these people personally. I'm sure that they exist, and wherever they exist, they are. That's an evil concept and thought. They are They are on the fringes of society. They have no political power and support in this country, and it's not Donald Trump supporters. That's what they want you to believe. By the way, the president just gets pulled in here because, for what? Because people are saying "Make America Great Again" as they're painting over this mural on the street. He's saying that the president and his supporters want to cause division. Is this guy, tough guy Chris Cuomo, has he been hit in the head one too many times? Has he been sparring over there with folks from CNN? Whenever he's, done his drama with this coronavirus, pretending like he was, relegated to the basement for months, and he had his, coming up the stairs as though it was the first time he'd been seen daylight in months. Of course, he'd been outside recently because he nearly got into a fight with a biker. Tough guy Chris Cuomo. These guys cannot be taken seriously. I was talking to Doug, and I get our liberal friend who we're going to talk to tomorrow. And after having that conversation, I was talking to my wife, and I said, CNN, in my estimation, CNN is the most deliberately dishonest organization. MSNBC is the craziest. Well, as far as mainstream media sources go, it's the craziest. But CNN is the most deceitful. And I'm going to put tough guy Chris Cuomo up here. Not necessarily. I mean, being wrong doesn't make you deceitful. Being deceitful makes you deceitful. And he was deceitful with the way he pretended that he was, had been just locked in the basement all this time with COVID, and had not seen outside or upstairs, or hadn't seen his family in weeks or months or whatever it was. But he's wrong here to think the division from those who are saying, "Make America Great Again." Of course it can be, but the Black Lives Matter is the movement. Again, look at their statement, look at their mission. Just go read it. This group has not been described inappropriately on this show and in other places I've listened as well. But anyway, got to take a break. Long in this segment, got to come back and wrap up. You're listening to Conservative Not Bitter Talk. I'm your host, Todd Huff. Back in just a minute.
Is it possible to be a fan of the show if you don't have the gear to prove it? Why not be safe and remove all doubt? Shop for official merchandise at toddhuffshow.com/shop today.
Indy Decorative Concrete is hiring immediately. They're looking for workers with experience finishing concrete. Pay is $25 to $30 per hour with weekly overtime. All jobs are located within the city of Indianapolis. Call 317-784-1464 or apply in person at their offices located at 8366 Brookville Road, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46239. They're open Monday to Friday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. For more information, visit their website, www.indiedecorativeconcrete.com. www.indiedecorativeconcrete.com.
What if your bank treated you like a person instead of an account number? What if you could sit across from the person you are opening an account with or requesting a loan from and have an actual conversation? You may be thinking, Todd, that's crazy talk. Well, not at Citizens Bank. Come visit them in Monrovia and meet Nick Gibson, their new branch manager, and the rest of their staff. Or give them a call at 317-831-0110. Citizens Bank is an equal housing lender and member FDIC.
The printing industry has changed a lot since we opened for business in 1931, but what our clients expect from us really hasn't changed. Quality print, fast turnaround, and competitive prices. We've learned a lot at Moeller Printing over 86 years and 3 generations. Why not put that experience to work for you? Call 317-353-2224 and mention discount code RADIO to receive 10% off your first order. Call Moeller Printing at 317-353-2224.
Outside of the federal government, no one likes losing money. Any amount of money, not just the $6 billion the State Department lost. And what makes losing money worse is knowing that we could have done something to stop it. Well, if you have an inefficient furnace, a toilet that won't stop running, or a leaky faucet, you can do something about it. You can call the good folks at Economy Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing. Call 317-831-5279 or visit economyheatingandair.com.
When life is hard for the women you care about, there is help with issues such as widowhood, anxiety, depression, or abuse. They don't have to go through it alone. Peace Restored is there to walk with women through the journey. Peace Restored helps women through free mentoring, counseling, and education. When life is hard, Peace Restored is there to help women you care about find hope and healing. To learn more, visit peacerestored.net.
Radon is an invisible, odorless gas that kills more people than drunk driving. In fact, radon is the leading cause of lung cancer in non-smokers. Is radon threatening the health of your family? Call Radon Environmental at 317-843-0804. Radon Environmental specializes in radon testing and mitigation. The process is quick, easy, and worth it. Radon Environmental wants to make sure your family's health is not at risk. Call 317-843-0804.
Are you an electrician, plumber, or handyman looking for an 8-to-5 job that pays you what you're worth? Copper Ridge Home Services wants you. Our veteran-owned family business offers holiday pay, weekends off, and on-site training for entry-level positions. Our team is growing, so if you have a can-do attitude, we want you to be part of that growth. Ready for a change? Give Copper Ridge a call at 317-839-6100. That's 317-839-6100. Copper Ridge Home Services. We value your time.
All right, folks, again, the saddest time of the day for you. I understand, and I sympathize. I empathize with that as well. But fear not. You can go to toddhuffshow.com/listen. You can catch programs that you may have missed. Shame on you for doing that. toddhuffshow.com/listen. You can sign up for our email newsletter by texting the word Huff to 31996. You can find out more information about our conservative, not bitter university courses. You can text the word course to 888-111. You can download our podcast. There's lots of ways to get more content, but I've got to wrap up, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day. SDGC tomorrow. As a listener of this program, I have no doubt that you embrace the value of hard work,